Okay, hello, intermediate band. Welcome to week 2. We are on week of March 30th, and so this is your practice help if you need it. And we're going to go over the things that have been talked about in the document that I sent your parents about what to practice. And we're going to start off with just some playing. If you look up here on the sign, you'll see some terms that we're going to go over today, and at the bottom is what we're going to start on. And I'll get to solo and ensemble, just talk about that for a second in a little bit. Let's start with concert C major. You should be working on memorizing this scale. If you're not there yet, feel free to look at the scale, but make that as your goal. At the end of the school year, we do Scale Club, which is playing through all the scales, trying to have them memorized, and if you can play through all the scales successfully with few to no mistakes, you get your name up on the framed picture that we stick in the band room. So work hard on memorizing, because that's an extra thing that we do for Scale Club as well. All right, we're going to start today with C major, and we'll go kind of slow, about this fast. So get that ready to go. You might want to put me on pause if you're not ready yet. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and... bubble. Excuse me. So clarinets on that one, remember that you're using your left pinky for C sharp and your right pinky for B natural. So if you need a refresher on those fingerings, they're in the back of the book at the fingering chart. Okay, let's go to number 60 on page 13. Go ahead and flip there. And we have been briefly looking at a new time signature. We've talked about it before in the past, called cut time. You'll see that at the top of page 13. And let's read the definition together. This time signature is called cut time, or à la brève. And à la brève, if you can think of what that sounds like, has to do with being brief. And cut time is just like 4/4 time, only everything is in half, and that's why they call it cut. So if you look at the top of the page, 2 counts in every measure, 2 beats per measure, and the half note gets 1 beat. So if you had 4 quarter notes in a row, it would be 1 and 2 and. This is the same thing as thinking 1 and 2 and, as if you were in 2/4 time. So you want to think about everything as being half the speed. And when I was your age, I would get confused about it. And so one thing that I would do is I would think about it as a fast 4. I would start out with going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and trying to play as fast as I could then, and then taking the training wheels off, so to speak, changing it to 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. And it's something that you gradually get over time. It is a mathematical concept, but it's more of a feel as well, and that's what we're going to be working on today a little bit. So we're going to start number 60. Jump down to the Victors, a popular fight song. If you watch football on TV or been to a game and there's a marching band there or a pep band there, you'll probably hear a fight song, and this is one of them. And allegro is our tempo, which means quick and lively. Quick and lively. So if you were on a metronome, which you should be every time you practice, Mom and Dad remember that, allegro is about 120. And we're going to start with thinking about it like we're in 4/4 time, since this is cut time. This is also forte, which means loud. So when we think of 4/4 time really fast, we think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we want to kind of get away from that as we go and thinking about it as 1, 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I got a little bit faster there. So we're going to think about this as a fast 4 or a steady 2. All right, so look at your tied notes. Think about the first ending. You've got a whole note tied to a half note. So that would be 1, 2, 1, rest, going back to the beginning. And now look at the ending, the last 2 measures. That's a little tricky. So you would think about that whole note as 1, 2, and then the last measure, 1, 2. So the whole thing would be 1, 2. All right? So feel free to back me up and practice this with me over and over again so you can kind of get good at it. Clarinets kind of goes a little bit high. You're going to go to high G, 1, 2, 3, and high A under the word fight song. That's high A. So memorize those notes as soon as you can, and don't play super loud because clarinets over the break trying to play forte almost are a little too much. So back off a little bit and make sure you sound beautiful. Here we go, everybody. We're going to think about this as 1, 2, 1, 2, or fast 4 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 1, 2, 1, and 2. That accent at the end. And it's a fight song, so you don't want to play this like a beautiful melody. You want to play it like sort of slightly attacking and slightly separating the notes. All right, let's go to 61. 61 is called Over Easy. And what is the tempo for this one? Andante. Yes, you have to use the Italian pronunciation, not andante. Not gonna do it. Andante means moderately slow. So again, if I had a metronome, I would set it to about 72. And these are approximations, so some, you can give and take with that. Moderately slow. And so look at the time signature for this one. Is it cut time? No. You see that. That's the same thing as common time, right? I'm going to cross that out because we don't want it to go with our cut time up there and confuse everybody. So we're thinking common time again. 4/4 time is another word for common time. And let's look at our key signature as well. Clarinets have 2 flats. Which are those flats? Or what are those flats? Trumpets also should have the same thing. B flat and E flat. If I'm a trombone or a flute player, what are my 4 flats? We always start at the clef, treble clef, and we go out to the right. So we should say B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, right? In the key of A flat. So clarinets, make sure that you are carefully looking at measure 2 and 3. You have a C that goes to an E flat. How are we going to do that? We're going to use our left pinky C for the alternate fingering. We've talked about that before. Left pinky, so we don't have to slide to E flat. If I slide, it looks like this. We don't want that. So we want left pinky C, right pinky E flat. And then clarinets, where does it happen again? Where we have to use our left pinky C. 3, 2, 1. It should be 3 measures from the end, from that half note C going to the E flat. Okay, so be careful there. Okay, over easy. Smooth. And look at your eighth notes. Those are not ticka-tickas. Eighth notes in the middle, 4 eighth notes beamed together. There's no double beam, so we know those are eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, right? All right, andante is probably about this fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, here we go. 61. And forte, loud. Ready and. Good job. Couple other terms to know are allegretto, light and lively. Allegretto, it looks just like allegro in the first few letters of the word, so you're thinking still a similar tempo, but it says slightly slower than allegro. So you could think of maybe 110. And then you go up to moderato, which we've talked about before, moderato, moderate speed, and that's about a little bit slower than allegretto, so we think about 100. These are good things to write down in your band book so as to keep track. And finally, let's talk about the Solo Ensemble Festival. At this point, May 9th is the Solo Ensemble Festival, so keep practicing. And clarinets or any of you, if you would like a private lesson online, I'm happy to help. So have your parents email me. All right, that's it for this week. Please do your listening. Last week's listening was really good. This week's listening is Stars and Stripes Forever. You've heard this one before, definitely during the 4th of July. You want to listen to that and comment on it. All right, happy practicing. Miss you. See you soon.